Welcome back, everyone. No doubt you've heard the phrase, we learn from history, right? Or history repeats itself. Now you add the factor that we happen to live in one of the most historic areas of our country, but probably in the world if you look at the scope of things. And for many years, those of us that live here knew about the Saratoga County Historical Society, based out of Brookside Museum in Ballston Spa. Fabulous place to go, by the way. Recently, it underwent a name change, and a lot of very interesting changes are going on there. So we reached out, and I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Michael Landis, who is a trustee and also a PR manager. So hello, Michael.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's a
Oh,
pleasure.
you're quite welcome. PhD, not many of us can lay claim to that, Mike. What's your PhD in?
I study American history with a focus on American politics, slavery, and particularly the 19th century. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, I said history repeats itself without realizing what that means right now, because a lot of what you're just saying, we're seeing a lot of this going on in our country again.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse to live through such times. It makes for great teaching, though. I have to say that to have something in the news that students can immediately connect with makes it much easier to delve into some of these issues. And it frankly makes for great opportunities for exhibits at museums or programs where people, in times like these, people are more tuned into the news and their awareness of what's going on is heightened. And at the History Center, we're trying to provide a service where we can put some of this stuff in context and frankly take advantage of people's renewed interest in local and regional history.
I've got it. And our local history is easily regional history and national history. So the change you undertook was from Saratoga County Historical Society to the Saratoga County History Center. So tell us what was the thinking behind the name change?
Yeah, it was a heart-wrenching and dramatic evolution for us. When I joined the board of then the Historical Society at Brookside Museum, they were in dire financial straits. The Historical Society was a revered and beloved organization in the greater Ballston Spa area, but over the years, membership had declined, and with it, revenue and donations, and really they were in financial crisis, and we had to come up with Hail Mary pass, so to speak, to try to save even the building. When I came on board, there was talk about selling off some of the property, getting moving the collections out, really kind of worst case scenario discussions. But we were determined to not go that direction, but to save the museum. And we decided that perhaps offering virtual programming was the way to go. And then, oddly, pandemic strikes. March 2020, New York State shuts down, and suddenly everybody's home. And the schools are shut down, and they're all going to online virtual learning, and everyone's in their house day and night for months at a time. And that's right at the moment we were trying to figure out this whole world of virtual programming. So for us, it was a bit of a serendipitous moment because people became hungry for online content right when we were trying to make that transition. So we launched several online events, including a guest speaker series and town hall forums and that kind of thing. And we realized that really our future lay in that direction as much as the museum itself. And frankly, in the spring and summer of 2020, we did not know when the pandemic, none of us knew what the pandemic would bring or how long it would last. And the doors to Brookside, the mansion itself, were closed, and we didn't know when they would open again. So we had to come up with a new game plan to survive as an organization, even with Brookside closed. And those are some really heated and emotional discussions about where we've been and where we're going. And that's when we came up with this idea of the History Center, that when the pandemic would abate, hopefully sooner rather than later, we would be able to reopen Brookside, but we would also be offering virtual programming and other things that could still bring in revenue. So essentially reduce the importance of the physical museum and put more emphasis on online programming, where we could charge a small fee for people to join, become members, or to participate in the event, and we could reach people all over the country and beyond, right? Because Brookside as a physical place only really attracts Ballston Spa and the greater Saratoga County area, but online we could reach anyone with an internet connection. So we went down that road, and it led to a rethinking about who we are, where we want to go, what we want to do, and that's where the History Center was born. An identity that implies more of a dynamic existence, something that offers more than just the museum. So we voted, to make a long story short, we voted to rebrand and change our name and to go in this bold new direction.
Oh yeah, it's. I was just going to use the word branch out myself, because those of us that have lived in the community for a while knew the Historical Society and Brookside Museum almost to be synonymous. That was it. If you wanted to know something about Saratoga history, you'd go to Brookside. And now because of online outreach programs, I know I was reading about that as well, Michael. So you can, some of the exhibits that you're investing in that might have their origin at Brookside, you're going to be able to take on the road. So of course that opens up all kinds of educational opportunities for kids and adults. I love the mission statement, and I tend to do this a lot, Michael, with interviews of checking out the organizations. But I love the idea of unifying community bonds. When you think about the richness of history and how that can do that, foster exploration. The more we learn, the better we are as individuals and as a community. Shared heritage. Like it or not, we certainly do have a shared heritage. And provide inspiration, which is, I think, a lot of what you're referring to right now. You having the opportunity to reach people the way you are, certainly one of those goals is to inspire them. Talk to me a bit. I'm not going to let this interview go without talking about the ice cream exhibit, okay? Which is it's at Brookside now, right?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I think it's in the process of that exhibit might be coming down and being reworked into. Well, frankly, I don't know what's in that event space at the moment. I don't know if that's going to become the potato chip exhibit or part of the permanent exhibit on Saratoga County. We have a committee that handles the museum facilities and exhibits. So I kind of let them handle that, and I like to kind of show up and say, "Wow, that's new and exciting." It's one thing to read about it in an email and discuss it in a meeting, and then another thing to see the exhibit live and up and running.
Well, you know what?
So
I want to let our viewers know that the things that you learn about our area, and he happened to say potato chip in passing, and we're going back on that one in a second, Mike. But things, it's ubiquitous in our area to see a Stewart shop everywhere.
Yes.
And of course they are synonymous with ice cream. But did you know that it goes back to 1787? And do you know that the ice cream division, or part of that, 1921, so that's a centennial that's coming up. I mean, these are the kinds of things that you learn. One other thing that was very impressive is the Black Experience, I think it's called, to celebrate the hardships, the persistence, let's say, the success of African Americans in our community. And it coincided nicely with Black History Month. Was that all part of that plan?
The Black Experience Saratoga was designed to be part of, to kick off Black History Month. But the two exhibits that you mentioned, I'd like to say are perfect examples of our new way of thinking. And they're both products of this new History Center mindset, because we've gone back to the drawing board and we said, what role do we want to play in the community? What is ubiquitous, that's the word you just used, in our community? What do people want? What do people associate with Saratoga County? Now, we know the revolution stuff. That's part of our programming. People love the Revolutionary War, and we've got plenty of that going on, but we wanted to do something a little different. And so that's the idea. Stewart shops. You can't turn your head without seeing a Stewart shops. And so, why not bring attention to that? Why not make that history? So we partnered with the Dake family, and they were working side by side with us to produce a history not only of their family, but of the business and the evolution, and the African American experience in Saratoga County. Same thing, right? This is something that is deeply important to the people of the area, and people that's part of our day-to-day lives that we perhaps haven't really thought too much about, and maybe missing from the standard histories of Saratoga County. So we partnered with the Saratoga County History Roundtable, which was a kind of a voluntary group that would get together periodically to listen to guest speakers and that kind of thing. We've partnered with them. We were bringing them into our organization, and they have access to historians all over the county. They've been doing great work on the Black experience. And so we said, let's make this official. Let's take this thing that everyone's already talking about, and let's put it into exhibit form, get that discussion going. And then we wanted to make sure it has a life beyond, as you mentioned, when the exhibit has run its course at the end of the summer. This is the Black Experience Saratoga. The components of the exhibits can be broken down, and they will go on tour. They will be divided up among various town history societies and historical places, so that you can see pieces of them, because really we are trying to be a county-wide organization. That's another big, not to go backwards too far, but a really important part of our identity, that the Historical Society of Brookside was really kind of focused on Ballston Spa and the museum, but we are thinking much larger now. We're thinking county-wide. We actually have gotten maps out and said, what can we do for Clifton Park? What can we do for Waterford? What can we do for Glens Falls? Where are the places that have been left out, so to speak, by the Historical Society in the past? We're the History Center now. We need to include them. So we've been reaching out to the town historians, these places. We're bringing them in to work with us on things. We're trying to create programming that is important to them. It's a long process. We're just getting started now, but the two exhibits you mentioned are perfect examples. I'm so proud of them, of how we're moving forward. And like the potato chip one as well, like thinking big, county-wide, thinking about things that matter to people, and making ourselves relevant in a way that we've never been before. So Brookside hopefully will become synonymous with Saratoga County history, or upstate New York history even, right? We love the nickname. So even though our official name, the Saratoga County History Center, doesn't include the name Brookside, that's still part of who we are. And people say, oh, Brookside, I love it. Or I saw that on Brookside, or I follow Brookside online. Perfect, great. We'd love for that to become slang for what we're doing.
Yeah,
so that's still part of our identity.
I wish I did know the answer to this. I wish either one of us did, actually, Mike. But those two exhibits that we're referring to, the one called the Black Experience and the other one about the history of ice cream in Saratoga, they're both fabulous exhibits. Really, go out of your way. It's a gorgeous mansion, by the way, the Brookside Mansion, right in Ballston Spa. We're running out of time rapidly, but I want to talk about just quickly plans for 2022. We got to hit this kind of quick, Mike. But
Yes,
you want to do a potato chip exhibit? Yay! That's worldwide, by the way.
Yeah, potato chip exhibit there. We're gonna partner hopefully with at least one potato chip company. We're gonna make it interactive. We're gonna make it fun. We hope to have some programming to go along with it. So not just the physical exhibit, but events dealing with potato chips. I mean, this just your mind. We're letting our minds run wild with this one because it's so much fun. And it's just one example of the kind of thing we're looking to do.
All right, I want to get my oar in the water here. Dark russets, okay? I'm a potato chip junkie, and I want dark russets included in the exhibit, okay?
Duly noted.
Okay, thank you, my friend. Hey, and one other thing too, as part of this expansion, rebranding and repositioning, countywide events all throughout 2022. Some walking tours, those are particularly fascinating. Fundraisers, guest speakers. You'll see the web address on the bottom of the screen. Please check it out. I mean, we started this by saying, you learn from history and history repeats itself. We live in an area that is so rich in history in so many ways. Mike, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us. Congratulations on the name change. Very, very smart move. And best of luck. And you can count on the fact that we'll be checking in with you throughout the year for updates. Okay.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure, and call back anytime. I love talking to you.
Yeah, likewise, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you.